Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of RE/MAX Associated Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Community Health. We have 8 locations to serve you better. Our staff is dedicated to help you and your family. Here's your host, Vicki Soule.
Good morning and welcome to Community Conversations. We're hoping that you are experiencing a wonderful, relaxing Labor Day weekend, and it seemed very appropriate to reach out to someone that sees summer all year long, and that would be Erik Toomsoo.
Yeah,
I always
very
struggle
well done.
with it. Thank
It's Estonian, actually. That's the origin.
Okay, so Erik is not only a lifeguard himself, but the president of the Vero Beach Lifeguard Association. So we're kind of wrapping up summer with a view of the beach from Erik's eyes.
Well, thanks for having us, Vicki. Thank you.
Well, you guys do an awful lot, but there's so many people that have come to Florida this year, perhaps from the Midwest or even the North, where they're more familiar with fresh water or chilly water, if it is ocean, than along our wonderful beaches. So before we get really started on a lot of different ideas and conversational points, I want you to have an opportunity to talk about what lifeguard beaches do you all cover? Your organization is a nonprofit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that means that you are supplementing things that you and your guys do as part of the employment, perhaps, of either the county or the city where you officially work.
Right.
Okay. So how did that get started?
The
Your
Vero Beach
nonprofit.
Lifeguard Association is a nonprofit. We started in 2011, and the
10
impetus
years.
of that was back then. The city of Vero Beach was thinking about in order to save money, taking lifeguards off the beach.
That's come up more than once.
Yeah, so, we kind of thought, wow, that's kind of crazy because people come to Vero for the beaches.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we came to the conclusion that I think the people who are making decisions in this town might not know exactly what happens on the beach. Because, when you go to the beach, you think of fun, you think of suntan lotion, all that kind of stuff. But things happen out there. It's not a pool. So we decided to do 3 things: educate the public, fundraise for the lifeguards within the city specifically, and to provide equipment for, like you said, for any kind of underfunding of the budget. So we do radio shows like yours. We do a monthly beach report to really educate the public and educate the folks who make the decisions in this town, specifically the city council, on why maybe they should be considering funding lifeguards. To date, the lifeguards within the city of Vero Beach since 2011 have had over 1,300 medical calls, because most of them they're all first responders, but they're also EMTs and paramedics. So something happens on the beach, they're the first ones to respond, and over 300 water rescues.
Wow.
Rip currents.
Let me run that back to you again.
Sure.
Did I really understand correctly that the lifeguards also are licensed EMTs or paramedics?
At least, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
I thought they were just great swimmers.
Yeah.
Excuse my ignorance.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing that we tried to put across to the Lifeguard Association, is to educate the public on really what's out there, who's out there, and what you can do to protect yourself when you do go out to the beach. So yeah, most of the action that the lifeguards, both in the county and the city, respond to is medical calls. Broken bones, heart attacks, strokes, you name it. We see just within the city of Vero Beach, an estimated 1 million people a year on that beach.
Wow.
So a percentage of those people are going to get jellyfish stings, get into rip currents, slip and fall, you name it. They've seen it out there. Broken necks. I mean, oh my gosh, it's amazing what happens out there. So yeah, because people.
I just think of the ocean as a place where we let our little kids play in the sand. They jump up and down in the waves. Some brave souls go a little bit further out, and that's when I think riptides.
Yeah.
But I'd never think about broken necks and heart attacks.
Yeah, it really does happen, and that's kind of what our mission is, to educate everybody. So when they go out there, hopefully they're a little bit more educated prior to going out there, because our main goal is for water safety. So an educated beach patron is our best customer.
Absolutely. So the Vero Beach lifeguards cover 3 different stations or beaches spots, correct?
Yeah. So the Lifeguard Association specifically supports the city lifeguards. Not that we're not willing to support the county lifeguards and other agencies, but that's our main focus. So yeah, the city of Vero Beach, which the lifeguard, some of our members are city lifeguards. I'm a city lifeguard, but not necessarily exclusively all lifeguards in our membership. But the city has South Beach Park, which is the busiest park in the whole county.
Really?
Beach park in the whole county. Humiston Park, which is centrally located, near the hotel district.
Mm-hmm.
And then JC Park, our northernmost guarded beach. Those are the 3 that the city guards, and they're staffed with hopefully at least 2 lifeguards at each station 365 days a year.
Wow. Sun up to sundown?
Sun up to sundown. Now, one other great thing that the VBLA advocated for, and the city council was, I guess, smart enough to take our advice, is to extend lifeguard hours during summertime. So from Memorial Day to Labor Day, specifically September 11th of this year, is the final day that they're going to be out there till 7 p.m.
Okay.
Because we've had some instances where, folks get off of work at 5, they go to the beach, just like they want to enjoy it, especially with the summertime. It doesn't get dark till 9 o'clock.
Right.
There was some major accidents, some tragedies between, after 5 and before 7. So we went up in front of city council and said, hey guys, these are the numbers. I think it's a good idea for you guys to extend those hours, spend the $25,000 it takes. And they did that. And I can tell you just this year, on May 27th, on July 13th, and on August 20th, 4 people were saved from rip currents between the hours of 5 and 7.
Wow.
So
notable days in your memory.
Absolutely. The last one on the 20th was at Humiston Park, a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Wow.
So, you don't hear about that kind of stuff.
No, you don't.
That's kind of why we're here, to educate the public. And we're really grateful for the city council that they have listened and they've made adjustments accordingly.
So what will happen after September 13th then in terms of hours?
It'll go back to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
We just hope that people pay heed. That, if lifeguard's leaving, just maybe watch your kids a little bit more, and, maybe don't go out when it's really rough. And
well, I can remember when
fingers.
I lived up in Michigan and we brought our kids down. It was fall, so they had already had to have their coats on, seen the snow and all of that jazz. And we came down and said to a sister-in-law that was living here, we're going to go to the beach. And she said, are you nuts? It's wintertime.
Yeah.
So I do think there is a diminished number of people that go to the beaches.
There is, especially September is one of the slower times as far as beach patronage. But it'll pick up again, in the new year. So
I'm most familiar with the beach at JC Park, and there is a tower there. So do each of your 3 locations have towers for the lifeguards then to see better?
JC Park and South Beach Park have similar looking towers. You've been there, they kind of look like spaceships.
Yeah, they do.
The Humiston Park is one of the things that we're trying to raise money for, because the lifeguard tower there is just inadequate. It's just basically a little shack, and if the lifeguards sit in it, they can't see the water, so they're subjugated, have to go out on the boardwalk in the elements, in the sun, in order to see the beach. So we're trying to raise money to build a lifeguard tower and command center there. That's our major focus right now, and we're trying to do it. We created a video for the Ellen DeGeneres show. Unfortunately, they haven't picked it up yet. I know her show is stopping, but we're trying our best to try to get something like that put together.
And you had said that you get a lot of community support. Should I assume that replacing that tower then would also have that kind of community support?
We would hope so. We're trying to fund it through private donations rather than through the taxpayers. As of this recording, the city has set aside $75,000 for the $300,000 project.
Ooh,
so we're really
$300,000.
Yeah, well, it's expensive to build on the beach. You have to get DEP approval and everything like that. But the good news about our project is we already have pro bono help from a construction company, an architectural firm, 2 engineering firms. So we're really lucky, and people really stepped up for local
That's
support.
fantastic.
Everyone seems to really appreciate what lifeguards do out there. It's just a question of funding, of course.
Yeah, and the construction, you don't want it to blow away in the first big storm out there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the construction costs are much more than most of us would have thought about it if we had stopped to think about it.
Yeah, and it's not a very large, we're not talking a huge building. We're talking about 800 square feet.
Uh-huh.
It's not very large. It would be on top of the pavilion at Hummiston Park. So it wouldn't take away any space from the viewing public. It'll be on the second floor, so the lifeguards can see a little bit better and a little bit farther down the beach. There's an adage: if they can't save them, they can't. If they can't see them, they can't save them. So it's important that the lifeguards have everything that they need in order to do their job, and that's all.
So for those of you that are listening and are kind of amazed and shocked at the same time, during our commercial, give a little thought to how you might be able to help. Checks are accepted. You have a website.
Absolutely. VBLA.org. You can go in there and donate and try to help us make beaches as safe as possible.
All right. We'll be right back after a short commercial. Hi, I'm Vicki Soule, CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health. Indian River County is one of the top 10 richest counties in Florida. Yet, half of our families are underserved in medical, dental, and behavioral health care. TCCH, a nonprofit, believes in health care for all. Children need well checks, women need mammograms, men need annual physicals. Please consider partnering with TCCH to help meet the needs of our community. 100% of your gifts stay here. To donate, visit tcchinc.org.
Are you opening a used car lot, pawn shop, a restaurant that will serve beer and wine? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
This is iHeartMedia's Treasure Coast Connection.
The Treasure Coast Connection is brought to you by New Vision Eye Center.
Calling all volunteers. The International Coastal Cleanup will be on Saturday, September 18th at more than 20 locations across Indian River. Join Keep Indian River Beautiful and 1.5 million people worldwide as we remove litter from our beaches, lagoon, and local bodies of water. Volunteers get free supplies and an event t-shirt while supplies last. Sponsors can get their logos on our shirts starting at just $500. Visit keepindianriverbeautiful.org to register yourself, family, or friends today. That's www.keepindianriverbeautiful.org. www.keepindianriverbeautiful.org.
Call New Vision Eye Center for a consultation or second opinion. Your eyesight deserves world-class eye care. Visit newvisioneyecenter.com or call 772-257-8700.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. Happy Labor Day to you all. And for those of you just joining us, I'm privileged today to be talking with Erik, our president of the Vero Beach Lifeguard Association. He's already informed me of a lot of things. And that's why he's here, because part of the Vero Beach Lifeguard Association, a nonprofit, by the way, in case you didn't get that message, is to educate the public about different things to keep our ocean and our beaches compatible for human life. As you mentioned before, the ocean is not the same as swimming in a pool. Particularly in this area, you mentioned that there are some things that are indigenous to our particular local area. Could you expand a little bit more on that?
Sure, Vicki. So one of the major things that is a water safety hazard is right at Central Beach, which is basically from Hummiston Park all the way up to Vero Beach Hotel and Spa.
Okay.
And what we have is we call it, it's a PEP reef, and it stands for a prefabricated erosion prevention reef. It's basically a highway divider that the University of Florida sunk in 1996.
Wow.
And it stretches 3,000 feet from, like I said, Hummiston all the way up to Hotel and Spa, and it's right in the surf zone. And it is, it stretches like the whole distance, and it's concrete. So at low tide, it's maybe only 15 yards into the water. So if you're unaware of it, and let's say you're at
as I was, can you tell from my eyeballs going, what?
And all of those hotels, Holiday Inn and Driftwood Inn and Reef Ocean Resort, all those folks are from out of town. What do? They go running into the water and smack right into this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what we do, along with the sea turtle research folks, the county folks, it's the responsibility of the county, that this PEP reef, but the VBLA members, we volunteer our time and we put some colored buoys on the reef. So people know, like, hey, what is that? And they always ask you a question, hey, can you swim past these buoys? And gives the lifeguards the ability to educate the public. No, you can swim past those buoys, but just want to let you know that there's concrete block underneath the water, maybe 6 inches underneath the surface of the water.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea.
Yeah. So that is one swimming hazard. The other thing that the lifeguards, and they rescue about 3 to 4 people on average a month, is from rip currents. We have rip currents. Basically what a rip current is, it's a small channel of water that is moving away from the shoreline. So if you look at the beach, and it's interesting with the anatomy of a rip current, so it's water moving away from the beach, and you see the waves coming towards the beach, and this rip current creates tampers down the waves. So it's almost like a Venus flytrap, because people see, all these waves. Well, I'll go in this section where there are no waves, and what that is a rip current. And so people jump in it and see you later. So we have a rip current issue here. We have a drop off, what that means is it gets deep fairly quickly. And because it gets deep fairly quickly, we also have what we call a shore break, which means the waves crash right on the sand. Because as the depth of the water gets deeper, the wave comes, perpendicular to the shore, and then it curls right onto the sand. So gotcha. Those hazards, the rip currents, the PEP reef, the shore break, the drop off, are all indigenous to this area, and so people have to be aware of it when they come to the beach.
Wow! If it were my business, I'm mentally making a brochure for you, yeah. Things to avoid while you're here in Vero to make it a safe and wonderful experience. So I figured amongst those you would say something about sharks, but you haven't said a word about sharks and bait fishing.
The media has done a wonderful job at hyping up shark attacks. They call it attacks. They're encounters. We tell people that you've put yourself at risk many-fold more times, 10,000 times more, by just driving your car to the beach, statistically, to get to the beach, than getting into the water and having an encounter with a shark. Very rare. I think statistically 1 in 10 million people.
Well, yeah, you said earlier that these beaches see like $1 million. I'm thinking about money for your fundraising
right. Thank you.
1 million people on the beaches in the summers. So, I can see statistically, and I appreciate your reassurance to that, because, of course, the media has played into that, and everyone comes down asking, I'm not going to go to the ocean because of the sharks.
We tell people, hey, listen, there's bears in the woods, there's sharks in the ocean. That's where they live. So respect their area. Now, there are things that you can do, and the other reason to swim near a lifeguard is if some sharks come a little too close.
Don't hit them in the nose.
Yeah, well, they're going to come at you so quickly. That's okay. Silly, because you're never going to see it. But if they come a little too close to the shoreline, which they are, because they're just going after bait fish, the lifeguards will blow the whistle and have people come out of the water and just let the shark do its thing and go.
Again, being up high enough to see them as opposed to the people that are right there in the water. Right.
And things you don't want to do, maybe you don't want to swim by yourself, dusk and dawn, because that's usually when they feed. Also, if you do see bait fish in the water, and we do have, let's say, the mullet run starting here soon, not a good idea to be swimming with the little fishies. Yeah. Because guess what? Sharks need to eat, and your leg might get in the way, your hand or whatever, but it's a rarity. We have had bites here, but
But they're, as you say, they're not attacks. They're really more encounters where you kind of got in their space, not the other way around.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. It's their space, and we just have to respect it and be smart about it.
So the first encounter I had with indigenous areas here was actually those wonderful, pretty little things that look like balloons on the beach. They're all sparkly, and you just want to touch them.
Yeah,
Tell us why we shouldn't.
Yeah, Portuguese man of war. Portuguese man of war, they're siphonophores. They're not jellyfish, just for edification purposes. And they have these, they look like little purple balloons. They range anywhere from maybe an inch long to maybe, I've seen ones, maybe 8 inches long. And that blue bladder sits on top of the water, and that's how they propel themselves. They can't move like jellyfish. That bladder sits on top of the water, and it acts like a sail. So if you get wind, and that's why we get Portuguese man of war on southeast winds, because they come off the Gulf Stream and they land on our shores. And little kids like, oh, a little balloon. But I can tell you some of those tentacles can reach up to 120 feet.
Wow. Yeah,
and they sting like there's no tomorrow. So even if they're on the beach, they can still sting you. So you don't want to pick them up. You know, if you do get stung by them, and this is a common problem that people have, or what they do incorrectly, they'll run right to the outdoor showers and they'll try to get the sting off. Well, fresh water actually makes the sting worse. So what you want to do if you do get stung by a jellyfish or a Portuguese man of war is first take the tentacles off your body, either with a gloved hand or take a newspaper or a towel and get it off you. Hot soapy water works well. Vinegar and water works well. Heat is a great source, a great way to extract the poison. All the Lifeguard towers have heat. They have Bactine also helps, all that kind of stuff. So don't necessarily want to run to the showers. It's only going to make it worse.
And we rarely see them, but when you're down on the beach and you do see them, then there's usually an encounter.
Yeah, and if you see one, there's going to be more. So you don't want to touch them. You know, just kind of.
Are there other things that will help keep us safe?
You know, just common sense. You know, common
Which
sense.
Which is not necessarily common these days.
Common sense is not common. You've got that. So just be aware. You know, just look. You know, for instance, even this week, unfortunately, there was a lifeguard up in New Jersey this week who was killed by lightning. If you see the lifeguards leave the beach and they blow their whistle and they put up a double red flag and you can look up at the sky and it's really dark out, get off the beach.
Yeah.
Why risk it? I mean, lightning, Florida's the lightning capital of the United States. Why risk it? So definitely common sense. You know, look at the weather forecast. If there's a west wind and you're going to decide to jump on a inner tube on a west wind, meaning it's coming from the west at 30 miles an hour, guess what it's going to do? It's going to push you out to sea. So common sense, that's the best.
And talk to your kids.
Talk to your kids.
Talk to your kids, because again, they have not had your years of experience. And it is wonderful to be able to relax on the beach. But if you've brought kids, keep an eye on them.
Amen.
It only takes a minute. We do water safety in the pre-Ks through our Rotary Club. And, you know, the highest level of drowning is in 4-year-olds, whether it's in the pool or the ocean, because we think they're independent at that age. They're not toddling around on the sand. We think they'd be smart enough to not put themselves in danger.
You know, Vicki, it only takes 20 to 60 seconds for the average person to drown. That's it.
Wow.
It is a fast process. It is a silent process.
Yeah, not like in the movies where their hands are flailing.
Exactly. And if you come to the beach, lifeguards are not babysitters. So please don't turn your back to your kids, and be careful to drop off the rip currents, the shore break, all that kind of stuff.
Thank you so much. You've educated me. I hope that those of you that have listened in aren't scared of the ocean as much anymore, but your common sense is now a little bit more of our common sense. So thank you very much, Erik.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely welcome. And you all have a safe and happy rest of the Labor Day weekend.